We're going to go ahead and start. My name is Audra. I am a realtor with Audra Heller and Associates, and I have invited my friend Melissa Moran to join us today because Melissa, I think you and I have such a joint mission in life and skill set that really impacts people. And both Melissa and I are past presidents of the Parkville Chamber of Commerce. We are very involved in our community through Hillcrest and other nonprofits. And I think our passion of connecting and helping others is such at a high level. And it's not just to make a dollar, but it's to make a difference in people's lives. And I think those are some of the things that just draw me and the energy that you have that we draw each other together. And so Melissa and I have been working on a seminar series that is called Navigating the Next Chapter. And that chapter may be for me helping my parents who are baby boomers. It may be for our guests that attend that are the baby boomers that maybe haven't had the help or don't have the financial wherewithal, that have their own family attorney that's planned and set all this stuff up, and they don't know where to go, where to begin, all of that. So Melissa is the owner of Senior Helpers, KC North, and helping kind of coordinate all of that with your business and your background. Tell me a little bit about you. Why did you choose helping seniors? Aren't they grumpy and old? I'm just kidding. That was a joke.
No, I specialize in grumpy and old, so you're good. We moved in with my grandparents on my 10th wedding anniversary, and we moved out on my 15th wedding anniversary. So for 5 years, we were living in Fawcett Agency, Missouri, north of Platte City, helping them. My parents lived with us for 7 years. So by the time we were looking for a business in 2008, we knew that it needed to be helping people and education. So we met with a franchise broker, and he had all sorts of questions that we had to answer to kind of come up with what would be a fit for us.
Okay.
And they gave us a list of companies to look at. One of them was True Green, and my husband was like, "Yay, I can put some fertilizer on lawns." But he was thinking what he would like to do as a job, not as a business owner. And I thought, there's no way helping people have great grass was going to get me up in the morning and be interested in continuing to do something long term. But when he presented these franchises, he waited for Senior Helpers to be the last one. And when he said, "And my last one is Senior Helpers," his little eyes twinkled. And he knew that that was the fit for us. He knew it was about educating, about helping. We knew it would be a great ministry to senior citizens and the disabled folks in our community. We did not know it was going to be the ministry that it is to our employees. When you have over 100 clients, then you have 60, 80 caregivers. And we are very ingrained in their lives. We know when their kids are sick because they have to call out, and we do a lot to support them in kind of like ways when their battery doesn't start when it's 20 below zero. I'm out there, my husband's out there jumping batteries. We're giving rides when you ran out of gas, or bringing you a gas card to meet you at the gas station because you can't make it to your client next. We do all those things in support of them. Because if they don't go to work, they don't have a paycheck or grocery money for their kids. And then our seniors like the continuity of expecting who they're expecting.
Perfect.
So that's kind of how we got started in 2008. But we were in Louisville, Kentucky, because we were in seminary, finishing seminary. And they said, well, there's no locations in Kentucky that were open. They were already sold. But there's this place called the Northland. We're like, that's where we're from. So we've been married 39 years this year, and my kids have only had a couple of years in their life that they didn't have somebody living with them. So our motto to them is marry well, because you know we're moving in someday.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, how long have you been doing this?
We just finished our 18th year, so we are starting our 19th year,
Okay.
and we just found out that we won Best of the Northland for the ninth time. So that's quite an honor. I did have somebody ask me why we didn't win all 18. And I had to explain to them when Best of the Northland was around when we started, they had healthcare grouped in one big category.
Yep.
Well, we're never going to win against North Kansas City Hospital and Liberty Hospital. So when we were in their category, the hospitals won and nobody else did. So then they got smart and figured out, oh, there's more categories and split us out. And that's when we started winning.
Love it. Melissa, what do you love most about helping our baby boomers and their adult children?
Well, I'm the end of the baby boomers. So I like that these folks are independent. They know what they like what they know, and change is not easy. So giving them a base framework where they can still do everything they can do, because we don't want to take away from them, right? We just want to support them to do what they're doing safely. So we have lots of different options. And my favorite part is helping them navigate what they need at this step, but also knowing what's available because life turns on a dime. And what they thought they needed for this next 6 weeks, 6 months may be correct and maybe not.
And Melissa, I think that's part of what has connected me and inspired me to start putting this together and connecting with you of here's my grand idea of what I want to do is because a lot of this happens and you're not prepared for it or you don't know and it happens. And having helped some family members or some clients and their families sell a home and help mom and dad move into assisted living or help move into main level living and dad has dementia and really struggled with the new house because he was set and where they were. And 6 months later, we ended up selling the home because it wasn't a right fit. Or someone having a stroke afterwards. We got the house sold, but the stress was over the top. And it breaks my heart. And I just have seen so much of that. And that's where I'm like, okay, how can we provide these resources that, people may not know? And you've even shared just in our discussions of, okay, what are we going to talk about this week and next week of just a lot of free resources that are out there that I didn't even know. And I grew up in Platte County. I've lived in Platte County almost all of my life. So whether it's Platte County, Clay County, Kansas City, different areas, a lot of people and have a lot of knowledge. So I want to pull it out of you. So let's talk a little bit about someone who is that we don't know their red flags because we don't know.
Right.
You don't know what you don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the first thing I would start noticing is their refrigerator. Are the leftovers being used? Are they piling up? Are they growing mold in the back corner? One of the first things, at least on the dementia side, that people cannot do is cook because they can not get the steps in the right order. They may put the macaroni and the powder in the pot and turn on the burner with no water. They may put the water in it all together and stir it up and thinking you're going to cook it down with the powder. They just don't get the list in the right order. So that's one of the things is cooking. The other is sometimes, well, let me back up. Only 20% of folks with dementia get diagnosed in the early stage. And there's a few reasons for that. If you're talking Alzheimer's, that's the only stage that they know they have a problem. So sometimes they're going to cover it up because, well, if I tell my daughter, she's going to make me move. She's going to take my car keys. She's going to ask me all sorts of questions and start spending my money. And I don't want to, I just don't want her in my business. But other people could be like my mother-in-law was. Go ahead and tell me all your secrets because I won't remember to tell anybody. And she was just like, hey, so everybody's different, but most people don't tell anybody in the initial stages because either it's embarrassing or the changes that might come with it, or they know something's wrong, but they don't know what it is.
Mm.
You know, a lot of people from the daughters and sons perspectives, it looks like, it may look like depression because like I had a client who played bridge once a week and she quit going. She told her daughter that she got in a fight with her best friend and she was not going back. Okay. Well, so daughter runs into the friend 6 months later in Hy-Vee. Come on, can't you make up with mom? Let's get you guys back together. You've been friends for 40 years. And the friend says, I don't know what you're talking about. There was no fight. But the mom knew that she had to tell the daughter something so she would quit harassing her about going to play bridge. And the reality was, bridge is one of the hard card games. She couldn't do it anymore. She couldn't keep its track. And she knew that. So she backed up. So sometimes people are withdrawing from their activities, like, I'm not going to teach Sunday school anymore. So it's time for the young people to do it now. Well, that could be normal aging of just getting a little more tired and realizing the next generation's turn to step up. But sometimes it's pulling back because they really can't, but they don't want to tell you. So sometimes it's pulling back from activities. Sometimes it's driving less. I mean, I'm only 63 and I can tell you the glare is already starting to bother me. So now I understand why my grandma wore her ball cap playing cards at the dining room table because the glare was so bad. I thought she was being cool. So,
awesome.
there's lots of different things
Okay.
to notice in that regard.
Super amazing. And I wouldn't have thought about some of those things. How do you, what is a good way for if an adult child sees some of those interactions, how do you have that discussion with the parent?
Well, I would suggest you talk about in 5 or 10 years when you're going to need help.
Yeah.
You don't talk
That's
about
great.
it that you need help next week, even if they do. They might really need help right now, but none of us want to talk about right now. But then they may surprise you and say, well, do I have to wait 5 years to get help? So, but when you talk far enough in the distance, people can be honest. Well, do you want to stay home? If you're going to stay home in your house, dementia folks do the best when they stay home.
Mm.
They remember where the bathroom is. We often get calls where somebody just moved mom to memory care and they call and say, oh, Melissa, you guys have been great, but we moved mom just in time. Well, just in time for what? She didn't become incontinent overnight, but that's what they think. Her ability to find the bathroom is what changed. And it doesn't matter. You showed her 45 times, this is the door to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't remember. She doesn't have short-term memory. So at home, that's an old memory. So they never forget where the bathroom is. They know how to navigate and what furniture to hold on as they walk through the house.
Right.
So keeping a loved one with dementia in the home can be done a long time. There's the number one indicator when people want to know like costs and things. The only time we're more expensive than a community is when you need 24 hours a day.
20. Okay.
When you need 13, 14, 15 hours a day, we get to be about the same price. But you get to go one-on-one to the bathroom. You get to decide what time you want breakfast. You get to decide what time we're going to the bathroom, not pushing the call light and waiting for someone, or like, oh, you missed breakfast because you slept in. Lunch will be in another hour. So when you're one-on-one, you get to pick all those times on your schedule. But also, it's hard. When you have a loved one with dementia, anytime they have a surgery, a big old fight with daughter or son, a move, um, any anesthesia, any major trauma-ish things make them drop a level.
Mm.
And people are always going, well, when she recovers from this surgery, she'll go back. Well, probably not. most people, it affects the brain and it kind of drops them down. They can kind of ish up, but they usually don't go back to where they were.
So my non-medical experience, just experience helping families, I have seen a little bit of that just when we have helped someone move or different things like that. So then I think, well, I want to stay at home forever for my plans. Like I want to live in my home because my home brings me joy. It brings me peace. I can play the music I want. I have, or the TV or have my dog next to me. So when I look at that, even just for what I want when I grow up, that makes so much sense. Tell me a little bit more. I would like to dig in a little bit deeper of staying at home, but tell me a little bit more about what senior helpers is. I mean, I've researched and learned just from knowing from you, but maybe for our guest, what is your company and what does it do for people? And then let's dive into staying at home. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Because
Well,
all of a sudden I was like realizing, I'm like, wait, we need to tell people because when I first met you, I really didn't know what she did, but help people. So tell me, dig deep, tell me more.
so a lot of people start with housekeeping.
Okay.
Some we're talking about grumpy old men, some of my favorites. When we go and a daughter will bring me to her dad because she knows he needs help, but he thinks he doesn't. So I have a little checklist till we go down. One, it makes sure we don't forget to ask all the questions, but also it allows people to see what kind of things we do that they may need in the future, but maybe not now. So we we start a lot of the times with the two things that even the grumpy old men will agree that they need help with. And that is cleaning the bottom of the shower. Because once you're very old, you don't want to get on your hands and knees and
I'm
do
53 and I don't want to do that.
so,
But yes.
right?
Okay. What a great
So that's the
baby
one.
steps.
Yes. And getting the sheets off the bed is easy. Getting them back on the bed
Mm.
is not easy. For depends upon how thick your mattress is. So those are two of the things that even the grumpy old men will let us come do. And then when they find out we cook, oh, what can you cook? Um, I had one gentleman who didn't sleep well at night. He was always in pain, so he didn't get up till noon or 1. And we were going to start coming to him at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And he said, there ain't nothing I want to eat that you're going to cook. Well, sir, what gourmet meal can we not cook? Oh, no, he wanted bacon and eggs and pancakes. And I said, well, we'd be happy to cook those for you at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. He said, no, that's not breakfast time. He literally had never heard of breakfast for dinner. And I said, oh, honey, some of us grew up so poor, we ate breakfast for dinner 4 times a week to feed lots of kids. So he didn't even realize it doesn't matter what time of day, because we service people and help them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, holidays included. So a lot of people start with the cleaning and the cooking. Some people skip all that because they'd rather have the dust build up than I don't want nobody in my home. And so some people, they wait till the crisis comes and then we start with maybe showers. Um, some people like an elbow in and out. I had a gentleman whose wife died literally in the shower, falling in the shower. So he's a little paranoid. So for a long time, we just came and helped him with the elbow in and out. He did his business, and then we were there a whopping 20 minutes. So we do everything from the 20 minutes to the 24/7. Laundry is another biggie. Depends upon where your washer and dryer is. If it's in the basement, please don't, you shouldn't be doing your laundry. 50% of the people who fall do not get to come home. So our main goal is to keep you from falling, keep you safe doing the things you want to do. So if you're love to cook, but the knee bothers you and you can't stand there and stir the pot, we can be your hands that stirs the pot, but you can still sit at the kitchen table and chop up the onions the right size that you want and kind of boss us around how you want us to do your recipe. So we do everything from, like say, cooking, cleaning, driving you to doctor's appointments, to the grocery store. We can go for you or with you. We can drive your car or the caregiver's car. We do things like all the way to life, end of life, bedridden at home. So we work in conjunction with hospices. Um, we have a lot of different ways to make the money go far. I'm pretty creative. Since I used to be a wealth management advisor, I'm pretty savvy. I'm a math girl, so I can figure out with what your budget is and what your needs are, how to best get that accomplished.
Right.
We work in conjunction with families. So families like, I have Tuesdays off. I can cover Tuesday. Okay. So, we just kind of put the puzzle together um, that fits every individual's different.
Do you only help seniors?
Now we help over 18 and over.
Okay.
So disabled folks, or somebody, I literally had a friend who was probably 40 and she wanted us to clean her house because she didn't want to pay the prices of Mary Maids. But she couldn't handle making out a check to senior helpers. So, Senior Helpers is a franchise. So we have 450 locations. My husband and I's company's name legally is Caring for the number 4 Family Inc., DBA, doing business as Senior Helpers.
Okay.
So she made her check out to our legal company name instead of Senior Helpers so that she was okay with having a senior company. But we service everyone that's 18 and over.
So, having grown up in the Parkville area, I've moved around. I've come back home. As they say, there's no place like home. A lot of people I've been researching, I've been asking a lot of people and researching this topic to even see if it's worthwhile. So, if someone has a relative that lives out of the Kansas City area, can we reach out to you? Would you be a resource to help me take care of my elderly uncle or aunt in Colorado or Minnesota or New York? Do you have those resources to help?
We do. I usually start with a conversation so that we know what kind of resources you're looking for. And you can always go to seniorhelpers.com. Any major city has a senior helpers. When you get into the rural areas, it is a little more difficult. Some rural areas we cover and some we don't have services for. If you're in that area where you don't know what is in your area, I suggest you call the courthouse in your county where your parents live and ask for the Department of Aging. They will know who the smaller mom and pop agencies are in their local area to be able to help you.
Perfect. No, good. As you were talking, I started thinking about that of what if I'm not here, like in
Right.
Kansas City, to have you as a resource?
Oh, and if your
What?
mom and dad are here and you
Mhm.
live out of town, we are your best friend. We are
Oh,
like the adopted daughter because
I love that. Adopt a daughter.
oh,
Okay.
because people say, well, what do you do? Well, what would you have your daughter do? Change the light bulb.
So I'm a
Bring in the
boy
mail.
mom, so she just talked my love language right there. I now have an adopted daughter because I have boys.
Yeah.
And they're not old enough to get married yet, so I don't have daughter-in-laws.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
okay. Good to know. Good to
Yeah.
know. Let's talk about staying in your home. So, stairs, you mentioned laundry room downstairs, bringing it upstairs. One of the things, if you're not familiar with it, is a all-in-one washer and dryer. So a lot of times I'll get people that, well, we have to sell because the washer and dryer downstairs. Well, they actually make a machine that's all in one now, and it actually works really good. I'm not a plumber and electrician, so we'll have to get someone smarter than me, but there's options, there's ways to tweak. And it's just finding that person that can help problem solve. And that's where I think both of you are superpowers, as my boys would call it, are connecting and solving problems.
Yes.
So let's talk about solving problems from the washer and the dryer. What other things do you recommend for people to customize their home? What do they need to do? I know when you have babies, you're covering the outlets and you're doing this and you're doing that. What about for our aging parents? Is there anything they need to do to their house?
Get rid of the rugs. No
Oh,
rugs. And the seniors will fight you on it. They love their decorative rugs. We are the generation, the baby boomers are the ones that created rugs, feels like.
yeah.
The rugs are the biggest trip hazard. So rugs in front of the kitchen sink, in front of their chair, in the bathroom, please just remove them. But my toes and feet are cold. Well, let's get you some socks with the grippers from the hospital
Okay.
on your feet or some slippers. Is the number one thing. Can I tell you real quick so I don't forget what not to do? Do not buy a walk-in shower, a bathtub. They are
Really?
15 to $20,000. I have had many clients over the years get them, and the most that has ever used them is 5 times. Most are 3 times or once.
That's an expensive bath.
That is a very expensive bath. But everybody's like, "But mom likes a bath." Well, no offense, but how much longer is mom going to live? How much longer is mom going to get in a bathtub? And usually by the time she can't get in the other bathtub, it's not going to be long before we're doing a shower with a shower chair. Because getting in and out of the bathtub, they look so wonderful. But when you sit down and then you sit there and wait for the water to fill up, you're cold. Now, I always thought that they would be worse when the water is draining because you're cold, but it's pretty fast to drain, but it's still a lot of water. And people don't like their water bills going up. Yeah, it's just nobody's happy with them after they get it. So save your 15 to 20 grand and do not get a walk-in bathtub. Besides the rugs, the other things to do is start minimizing. Minimize before you can't. So, when you have so much furniture and a walker can't get through, that's a problem. We sometimes go to houses. So when we train our caregivers, sometimes we're saying, okay, you're going to have 3 hours. And sometimes you're going to walk into a house, you're like, oh, there's not a speck of dust. What am I going to do for 3 hours? And that's when you're going to do the tops of the doors and the, keypads of the light switches and different things. But sometimes you walk into the house and there's only a path. They have boxes or stuff everywhere. And it is such a fall risk. And it makes it difficult for them to age well, let alone in place. And so getting rid of your stuff when you're still able-bodied, but it's my stuff. Well, let's concentrate on what you're keeping, not what you're giving away. And I do want to go back and touch a little bit about moving.
Okay.
Because I'm 63. We've already downsized to a single level living. So either do that when you want to be still active and maybe not as big a house as you had with the kids because you want to do some traveling or get a camper. Do that when you're young. When you wait till you're 85 to do that, it's exhausting. Like she said, she had a client who had a stroke right after because it was so stressful. So either do it a little earlier than you think you should, because you're still able to make some of those decisions and get rid of some of the extra stuff you have. I just literally met a couple this last week, and they were telling me about downsizing, that nobody wants their stuff. Nobody wanted their crap, he said. And he said they literally burned boxes and boxes of pictures because their daughter and son don't care anything about their pictures from 40 years ago at the Grand Canyon. So, when you go through those, when you take the time to get through those, take 1 or 2 pictures from the Grand Canyon. And then you can maybe have 40 pictures. And guess what? You can turn them into a cool book. And then somebody might want to keep that, but not the individual pictures.
That is good. Yeah. Because when we're helping clients downsize and move, we always say, we do our staging consultation. And for us, our staging consultation is working with what you have, taking away to make the picture look as great as possible. We're not renting furniture and bringing things in. And things mean sometimes people I observe is that their personal belongings are their identity, and it shows how successful they are, whether it's the collection of this or these crystal dishes or this. And you're right, a lot of times the younger generations don't want their things, or they've already started collecting their own in their own taste that is a different style or pattern or things like that. And it is difficult to let go of things that have memories.
It is.
And our memories of I'm going to be the first to admit my Christmas tree is decorated with ornaments from trips. Everywhere I go, I have an ornament, and it brings me joy every year to do the Christmas tree. But that joy is only for me.
Right.
It's not for anybody else because they weren't with me on that trip,
Right.
and it's
Totally.
as an adult child, my biggest advice working with your parents and downsizing, because I've seen them, sometimes it's packing those things up and let's maybe put this in storage. Not the best idea, but that way they're not giving up. You're not taking it away from them. And it's managing and figuring out what you want. Or there are so many charities. You and I are involved in Hillcrest. There are so many families that can't afford to buy it, that are down on their luck, that really could use a nice new blender, a nice piece of artwork that meant something to you, and it'll be for them as well, where, you know, it's not just doing the garage sale, giving a hand up, and things like that. And giving your parents grace, I think, is the biggest thing. And I know it's hard and it's emotional and it can be frustrating. And sometimes it's biting your tongue and sitting back of, okay, what's best for them? And I love the idea of having your services and your team to come in and help, whether it's cooking a meal or cleaning
We'll
or
pack your stuff too. To be ready to move or to unpack it when you move. We do a set schedule every week. We also do the random, hey, I'm going to be out of town for 2 weeks. And that's too long for nobody to put eyes on my mom. So could you come in? Some people have us come in every morning, every evening. Some people have every 2 or 3 days. Can you check on mom? Everybody's different, what works for them and what their family needs are. But we do those random times too. I got a lady
I
that
love
we put her
that.
Christmas tree up 3 years in a row. She didn't need other help. Just put my Christmas decorations up, and then we come back the end of January and take them back down. So we do all those random things. Oh, another one is doctor's appointments.
Okay.
The colonoscopies and the cataract surgeries, where you can't use Uber to drop you off. Somebody
You
has
can't
to
drive
stay with
home.
you
You have
and
to
you can't
stay.
drive
Yeah,
home.
someone has to be with you. Like I've been that for my parents,
Yeah.
and who's your person? And you
Right.
can't leave.
Yep. So we do that. My husband loves doing those for people. He loves getting to meet them, and they're always really cool thinking that they got to meet the owner. My husband's an accountant, and he does our bookkeeping for our
Okay.
business, and then takes caregivers when their car's in the shop. He takes people to work so they can still have their money to pay for the car that's in the shop.
Yeah.
So, he loves serving in that way as well.
Great. What I'm kind of going back and looking at my notes. How you mentioned kind of the refrigerator of I'm thinking of as an adult taking care of my family, and some of my questions went to, how do I know? You've given me some tips. How do you avoid caregiving burnout? I've heard of families and you're there and you're helping mom or your in-laws. Talk to me about burnout.
Burnout is real. So I like to tell people, if I have a couple and maybe it's dad that needs the physical help, the showers and different things. And I may say, okay, we're helping him, but I'm here for you. And they look at me like, I'm not the one that needs help. And I'm like, oh, you're the one that needs the most help.
Doing everything, yeah.
Because as a married couple, you do things for each other, and all of a sudden at the end of life, you're doing things and you don't even realize how much you're doing for one or the other. I had a family who dad had dementia, but nobody knew because mom was covering for him, so she just always, what he couldn't do, she just took over and started doing. And I don't even know if it registered to her that he
Sure.
couldn't. It just is how you work as a married couple of
Yeah.
50, 60 years married. So here she falls unexpectedly and breaks her shoulder. So off to the hospital she goes. Well, the daughter lives in Houston. So here she flies up. They go to picks up dad, goes to the hospital. They come home in the evening. They turn on the TV. It doesn't work. Hmm, interesting. Dad said, we were watching it this morning before we went to the hospital. Great. The next day, the TV doesn't work. She calls her husband in Houston to find out. The wife has no memory issues, but she is so overwhelmed. She has not paid Time Warner cable bill in 6 months. So for those of you who have Spectrum, Time Warner, now Spectrum, they wait 6 months before they turn off your cable. No bill was paid in 6 months. And because she was still doing the check stuff and just missed it in the mail because she was overwhelmed and didn't even know it. So when we talk to daughters or the spouse, you have to have a break. Your brain needs something to do for a good solid hour that has nothing to do with caregiving. So sometimes they don't have, okay, what am I going to do on my break? All my friends are already gone. I'm not going to go eat or go to a movie by myself. So I tell them, go to the grocery store. You either go in the cereal aisle or the soup aisle. And because both of those have some very unique ingredients and flavors that are together that weren't there 20 years ago. So just go down the aisle and read labels and laugh at, oh, look what they put together this time. But it gives your brain a whole hour for the shoulders to come down.
Yeah.
We help them learn to breathe. The 4-box breathing. I don't know if anybody's heard that, where you 4 counts in, hold 4, 4 counts out, hold 4.
Yeah.
There's something about the breathing out when you hear it that releases all that stress and toxins from our body. And if you breathe out like this with no sound, it doesn't do you any good. So there's a reason why those kind of things happen. But the burnout, when you are on 24/7, even though you're not helping him much, but your brain is listening. Your brain, it's like having a brand new baby. And
I was just thinking about that as a new mom. Yeah.
it is, you're on all the time. So any chance we can get for them to step away. And sometimes people just want to go take a nap or read their book in the bedroom while we're there with their loved one. Sometimes we're the ones that takes the loved one out. So some people like to just get in the car and go feed the ducks or go see the leaves or the Christmas lights. Sometimes they get to come see 4 different walls. And it allows, the wife or the husband, whichever, to be at home to do what they want instead of what they have to do.
Okay. One of I would like to dig into another topic, and I think having a son that plays football and learning about concussions and learning about the way they test for them. One, they do a concussion protocol testing before. And so, unfortunately, my son has had a concussion, and they did a test afterwards. And she's like, we can compare his reaction time and all these things to compare. I look at, again, being 53, I forget things. So do I have dementia, or is it just part of getting older? How do I know? How do I, for myself, for people I'm caring for, how do you know? What are signs of dementia?
So when we do the Platte County or the Clay County Senior Fairs in October, the number one approach to the table is, I think I have dementia. And they literally come thinking that they're pretty sure they got it. And I'm like, what makes you think you have it? And they all say the same thing. I can't remember. And I'm like, okay, so when you walk into the kitchen, do you forget why you came to the kitchen? Like, what did I come in?
Sometimes.
Right? So that's a very common one. And when I tell them, oh, that's normal aging, they're like, okay, good. Okay. They're so relieved. But your memory is the best at 26 years old. And it is downhill from there. So give yourself a break and breathe. So as the brain ages, one of the things it doesn't do well is remembering nouns. So if it's the nouns and the names that you're forgetful, you're probably right on track for normal aging. You'll be like,
What's their name?
It's a cup.
Yeah, or a cup. Yeah.
Something so simple, and you're like, I must be losing it. But no, that's normal.
Okay.
I'll give you one quick scenario for so you know the difference. So if you called me, Audra, and said, hey, let's go to lunch tomorrow. Let's meet at 2. We're going to go to one of our restaurants we like, and I'm going to bring these vacation pictures. You bring our seminar stuff. You do this, I do this, and we kind of have a little plan. Well, at 2 o'clock tomorrow, when she calls me to say, hey, where you at? I thought we were meeting today. And I go, what? What do you mean meeting today? And he said, remember, we were going to meet to eat lunch. Oh man, I totally forgot. That is normal. Normal aging where we're distracted, we didn't pay attention, especially once you're retired. All the days run together. There
Okay.
is not except if you go to church on Sunday and Monday night football, you don't know what day it is
Mm-hmm.
because Price is Right is on every day at 10, right? So people get confused in that regard and just not paying attention
Okay.
because they don't have a set schedule like when you're working that you have to do this at certain times. So that is very common. Now, what it looks like if it was not normal aging is I might say, well, if you wanted to go to lunch, why didn't you call and invite me? So you reminding me that we had a conversation about lunch and helping, and I go, oh yeah, I forgot. That's normal. When I want to argue with you that you didn't even call me, we didn't have plans for lunch. I don't know what you're talking about. When you want to disagree and argue about it, that being reminded doesn't remind you,
Okay.
that's when there's something different going on. This may be a good time to talk about what if mom was fine on Monday and on Tuesday, holy cow, I think she has
Yeah.
full-blown dementia. So there's some things that happen that makes it look like your reality. UTIs. So as your body ages, the feeling in your skin is not as intense. So when you're young and you have a urinary tract infection, you know it. You're in pain, you can feel it. As you age, you don't feel those symptoms anymore. And because of that, and they don't drink enough water, so they're dehydrated on top of it. So they will have a raging UTI like nobody's business before they ever know. And the symptom that they know, they still can go to the restroom fine. They still don't feel any discomfort. But all of a sudden, today they have full blown dementia. That's usually a UTI, sometimes low sodium or low potassium. I had a lady who called me at 7 o'clock on a Friday night. She was bringing mom home from the hospital. So I met her over at Riverstone, the senior living, and at 8 o'clock on a Friday night. And she was explaining that she has just got mom out of the hospital. And I said, oh, what was she in for? Low sodium. Oh,
Really?
and how did they fix that? Well, they gave her a bag of sodium. I smiled
Uh,
because I knew she was going to be back in the hospital pretty quick because they didn't fix the problem, they fixed the symptom, which is a different problem in our healthcare.
yeah.
But we'll talk about that another day. I told her a different hospital that she might want to consider, and she said thank you because she was from out of town. She called me back at 6:30 the next morning.
6:30 in the morning?
Yep. Well, it was her day had
Yeah.
started at 4:30
Sure.
because mom woke up at 4:30 in the morning and was cussing like a sailor to get that blessed tractor out of her dining room. She literally was hallucinating, seeing a tractor in her dining room because her sodium levels were back down because the bag had worn off. They didn't fix the problem, they'd done the symptoms. And so she had already gone to the hospital, I told her, and they'd already fixed the problem, and she was already back home within 2 hours. And she was so grateful that we had the conversation yesterday that she wouldn't have known that low sodium causes those kind of symptoms.
Low sodium can cause
Low
that?
potassium, different chemical imbalances. So that when you think it came on suddenly, that's usually what it is a UTI or something of that
Okay.
nature. Most dementias come in very gradually, which is why people don't notice it and why it appears to be normal aging and why only 20% get diagnosed at the beginning.
Hmm. How do you get diagnosed?
Well, It's kind of like how they diagnose Parkinson's.
Okay.
When they diagnose Parkinson's, there's some symptoms, but it could be Parkinson's, but maybe not. So they give you the Parkinson's medicine. If the your symptoms improve, you have Parkinson's because the medicine helped. But if the medicine didn't help, you do not have Parkinson's. That's how they literally.
Are you serious?
No, I'm dead serious. My dad had Parkinson's, and
Okay.
carbidopa, baby, is your friend. But in the dementia world, uh, I can spend 5-10 minutes with somebody because I've been doing this for 18 years as a teacher for 16. Um, I can tell pretty quickly and usually which one. There, the last I knew, which was before COVID, I have not updated our records since then. We had over 120 kinds of dementia.
Really?
Yeah. Uh, Alzheimer's is the most common, and it is 60% of them. So that means the other 119 are only 40%, which is why people interchangeably use the word dementia and Alzheimer's. They don't realize there is no disease called dementia, just like there's no
Okay.
disease called cancer. I've had thyroid cancer.
Ah,
Some people have had breast cancer, lung cancer, um, but there's no disease called cancer by itself. Same thing for dementia.
mm,
It is the umbrella term of all the kinds of dementia. We study and utilize training for the Alzheimer's because it covers most, but
okay.
it also gives you the baseline for the rest. Like Lewy body is the only one that has um, hallucinations. So one of our very first clients years ago in Liberty, it took us a couple days to figure out, was this lady having an old memory of her dog, or was she hallucinating that the dog was right there?
Oh, wow. I did not realize there were so many different levels and types and kind of the umbrella terminology. I thought, you have it, this is it. And there's a little yes, no
Mm,
checklist. So
no.
it's not just me asking, okay, who's the president today? Um,
Oh, here's what they ask is they usually ask, what'd you have for breakfast this morning?
okay.
And one guy can answer it every time. And his doctor was baffled because he knew he had a problem, but how can you answer what you had for breakfast every day?
Well, what if he eats the same thing every day?
40 years in a row, he had the same thing.
Full of oatmeal.
And finally his daughter was with him and said, well, of course he can answer that question, you know. So um I when I go, I ask them for their phone number. And when they turn and look to their loved one, what's my phone number?
Okay.
That's your first clue. But I still, when I come and interview families to do that assessment, the daughter or the husband wants to answer for them because, well, they know they don't
Just
know the answer,
we want to
right?
care for them.
Yeah, but they know
Yes.
they don't know the answer.
Yes.
But when you're doing an assessment, please know that I need her
Them
to
to answer.
answer. I
Yep.
need her to figure out so I know what she can do, what she can't do, what stage she's in, so I can direct my staff to
Okay.
be prepared when they walk in would be the best thing for them. So, and then sometimes I had a gentleman from the East Coast recently, and he says, I think I'm supposed to shut up now and she's supposed to answer. And I go, that would be wise. And then
That's awesome.
then it got to the point where, okay, I had what I needed and she still couldn't answer some of the
Yeah.
questions. He go, was that for me? Should I talk now? And I'm like, I'm done with my assessment part. You may talk now. and and sometimes the daughter's behind them going, oh, no, wrong answer. And I'm like, so you have to know that even if they don't have dementia, a lot of times seniors want to give you the answer what they did 10 and 20 years ago, because I can still cook Thanksgiving dinner. I
Yes.
can. Watch me. You know, they probably haven't done it in 10 or 15 years,
Hmm.
but they want to talk about what they've loved in their life and what they've been able to serve their family and be involved in. And that's still part of their strong memories that they still think was yesterday. I still think I'm 35, so I get
Right.
it.
Right. I'm 39, have been for the last 20 some years. Um, how do, what should family members do if they suspect some memory loss? And is it Do I contact the doctor? Do I have someone like you? Like, what's the next step if I'm starting to worry about my parents' care or a neighbor's care, of, all right, they're there, I'm not seeing stuff, or I'm seeing memory stuff. What advice? What do you do?
Well,
And I'm sure everyone's different, but
everybody's
what
different.
advice would you give? Yeah.
Well, the first advice is if your loved one has any dementia, they cannot join your reality. You can join theirs. And that is the only way
Mm,
it works because their brain is affected and they're doing the best they can. So when um, they know A and D, there's a coffee cup on my counter and I didn't put it there. So they have to, because they don't remember putting it there. So they have to make up B and C that makes sense in their little head of what connects A and D, right?
mm,
It doesn't usually make any sense to us, but it does in their brain. So they're going to make up something to fill in those gaps, which usually means, hey, son, somebody came in my house last night and had coffee and left the cup on the counter. Because they would never have left the coffee cup on the counter last night, even though they did, of course. But so that's kind of how they make those things up. So, what do you do as the loved one? First of all, be supportive. Do not argue. Do not correct them. When they say the sky is burnt orange and it's hot blue today or gray, you don't say, oh, it's gray. You just say, isn't it pretty? Say
okay.
something that is agreeable, but I'm not a
Mm,
promoter of lying. So you have to choose your words carefully. But when you correct them, what do you mean? I got a problem. That just gives their anxiety,
mm,
it just sends it through the roof, and then their brain works even less. So the brain works best when it is calm.
okay.
So music is your best friend. There are three things that are always preserved, I should say, that dementia never affects this right side of the brain, the right frontal lobe.
Okay.
And what's there is rhythm and music. So your music, whether you like AC/DC, Frank Sinatra, or Garth Brooks, it doesn't matter. It's still rhythm. Now, your
Okay.
rhythm might be fast or it might be more soothing slow, but it still calms the brain. Think of it like when you put a kid on the dryer or in the car to get them to go to sleep, those
Mm-hmm.
ones that are really struggling, the colic babies or something, that's what it does for them.
Susan.
It soothes their brain. So rhythm and music, so reading the Bible or poetry and music, have it on in the background all the time. Nowadays, the YouTube channels you can have a coffee shop, you can have rain, you can have snow,
Yes.
fireplace crackling with music
Yep.
in the background. Sometimes it's wildlife, whatever they might like,
Wow.
because something simple like watching the deer walk through things, I mean, it makes me stop. I don't know. I'm at the age where I watch birds already. So anything like that is very calming. The other thing that is there is, well, when you came home from school when you were 6 years old and said, whatever bad word, fill in the blank. Your mom said, bah, 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 bah. So she taught you impulse control, but your brain said, "Ooh, what a word!" So they put it over here in the right side and save it. So when some people's dementia affects the left side where the real words are, and when they don't have those words, they have all these. This is all they have left. Occasionally, we'll have somebody call to say, um, we need help with mom in the shower.
Okay.
Okay. That's a very common one especially for dementia, because they think they already had a shower. They don't like water in their face. They don't like to be cold. It's just change. I'm fine wherever I'm sitting. Leave me alone. We will always offer to have me come out and do our assessment and make a plan. It's to make a plan on
Mm-hmm.
how we're going to help your family. Well, no, we don't want you to come, not to the house. I don't know about you, but we've never been successful doing a shower over the telephone. So,
And definitely not on Zoom.
yeah, right. Yeah, here, put your hand.
Oh, yeah.
So that tells us though automatically what the issue is.
Okay.
Mom, played the piano for 40 years, and now she's sitting on the couch dropping nonstop F-bombs. And the
Wow.
family's embarrassed. Be assured we're not. We know it's the disease, not your mom. It is okay that, because that includes racial slurs, all the bad words. We're talking the fat, ugly, all the interesting things. So that is just part of it. Um, the other thing that is stored there, let's see, you got rhythm and music. This, I'm going to forget the third one.
Yeah.
I'll come back.
You think about it, because I wouldn't mind sharing a story. It might be my eyes because she really hit a nerve, or whatever the saying you want to say is their brains are operating differently. And I am a mom of a dyslexic son. And when you talk about that, of having teachers like, well, he's just not trying, his brain is operating differently, and it's okay. And I think, sorry, I'm going to get emotional. I think the biggest thing, maybe if you are a caregiver, helping your parents, just remember, what's the difference between an Android and an Apple phone?
A lot.
Hey, they both make phone calls. They both can do text messages. They both can get on the internet. They can do the emails. They both can do a lot, but one operates differently. And I had a friend tell me that, remember, your son is an Android or an Apple. I'm an Android. We still can do things, but we have different operating systems. And maybe that's a good analogy to be using for your parents, that,
Yeah.
hey, mom and dad, the difference between an Apple and Android phone, they both can do this. I'm an Apple, or you're an Apple, I'm an Android, whatever it is. But you're right, it's giving them grace of their brain is operating differently. And I just had a talk with a very, very close friend of mine that I grew up with, and their mom has been living with them with dementia, and um, got to the point where they needed help. And she mentioned, you know, mom's cussing all the time. Mom's getting aggressive. Like, and I'm like, your mom? Like, I've known this lady since I was a little kid. I can't even imagine that's your mom. It's not their mom.
It's
It's the
not.
disease,
It
or
is.
and it's heart-wrenching, Melissa. It's heart-wrenching. And so listening to you, I'm like thinking of my son, or thinking of my family members and friends, my friend's mom, that she's like, Audra, it's so hard. And she said it was hard to put her into, give her a new life, a new home, but they needed the help. But mom is now happier because she has her, she's not going from one house to the other, and she has a very structured. And I noticed my
Structures.
dyslexic son, structure is very important. Is
Critical.
that the same with
Yes.
dementia? Is structure?
Yep. Well, all seniors often will tell me that they are fine, they need no help. And here's why. There's three things that they were able to do today, which means go away, lady.
Okay.
They got to the bathroom by themselves. They found something to eat. And sometimes it's a bag of Oreos, but they're not hungry.
They're not hungry.
And my remote is working, so get out of my house. And I'm not joking. Often that is the response.
Hmm.
And sometimes it's the lady whose house is immaculately cleaned, and some it's the dust is thick. So have some grace with your parents. The cool thing, my daughter is in her 30s, and now with teenagers and things, she said, I'm starting to get this. Your 60 something self has different ideas from my 30s self. Kind of how I feel about my teenagers. And I said,
Yes.
and
Okay.
we have different perspectives. You want to help your family and your loved ones. But sometimes I come across daughters are like, you need to get mom to bingo. She needs to play bingo.
Yeah.
And I'm like, have you met your mother? I bet she hasn't wanted to play bingo a day in her life. What makes you think she wants to do that now that she's 85? Their personalities don't change. They are who they are their whole life. So whether they have dementia or not, they may not want to do some of the activities that they've never been involved. The extrovert, when it's my turn to go, I'll be in charge of getting the bingo collars and
I'll be calling the bingo. B4, 4. I got that part down.
Yeah, but other people are like my grandma moved to one of the first senior apartments in St. Joe.
Okay.
Back in the 90s. And she was like, oh, and they have potlucks every month and they do bingo and they do this. And she never went to one. She went to one potluck in 6 years. She just liked the idea that it was happening outside of her door. But she was such an introvert, she just didn't care if she went. She'd say hi, and when she went to get her mail to people, how did it go last night? Oh, you should have come. Oh, yeah. But she liked the idea that activities happened because she was an introvert. So allowing them to choose what they do instead of feeling like you need to make them. Sometimes I find, especially daughters and sometimes sons, but we just want mom to go back to what she was, after this surgery or after this illness, or, we're on these meds for the dementia. That's the hardest part, is wanting them to go back to their vibrant selves. And this is a marathon. We're not here for a sprint. It's a long journey, which is why you have to protect yourself, which is why you have to make sure that you have other things in your life that bring you joy to balance all the stress out. But also, when you go and have help so that you can visit mom and have a conversation with mom, and tell her about the kids' ball games and what are we going to do for Thanksgiving this year, and having conversation instead of visiting her toilet and her laundry room.
Yeah.
Those are things that, as a daughter, yay that you can do them. But when your own laundry is not done, let us help. We have some things called Platte County Senior Fund, Clay County Senior Services, and even Jackson County just passed it last year, where we can get you hours to help take care of your family member at a discount. And it's not like qualifying for Medicaid. And there's Medicaid too. But when you can get 50% off of services, and
Really?
I just looked up the numbers yesterday. A couple can make like $6,600 a month and still get a discount. So it's not like qualifying for some of the programs, meaning you have no money. And these programs don't care if you have $5 in the bank or $5 million in the bank. So the lady who sold the family farm and has lots of money in the bank, but she still makes $1,200 in Social Security, she's going to be free. So there's help. There's help for the veteran. There's help for the veteran's spouse if they were in wartime. There's lots of different aspects. I'm finishing up my 4-year term as the president of Northland Professionals in Aging. So we know everyone. We know all the hospices and the home cares and the different buildings. And we always like at my office, anything senior related you want to know, you call us. We're happy to be your resource to give you ideas on who to call and who not to call, because we also know who doesn't do what they're supposed to do. Now, we don't mow grass. We don't pull weeds in the flower bed, but pretty much anything else we do. So that's
awesome.
Helpful. We just want to redirect you. And also, if you have your family, especially bigger families, or even if it's just one or two of you, you would like to learn more about dementia, we do those trainings for family members. And it's all free. We do it for a lot of the communities and training their staff. We want these folks to get the best care they can. And that usually comes with helping families understand to quit correcting them and quit yelling at them, because they're doing the best they can. One of my favorites is I had a daughter. She came to class and was just crying through the whole thing. She knew she was doing everything wrong. She said, Melissa, I don't think I've done one thing right. there's no book that comes with this. It's kind of like having a baby. No book falls out at the same time, right?
Yeah.
So you are doing a lot of trial and error of trying to figure it out. And sometimes I have daughters say, she's pushing my buttons just like she has my entire life. Well, she might have done that your entire life. But I'm here to tell you she's not doing it on purpose anymore because she doesn't
Mm.
have that wherewithal. You may be reacting like she's doing it again, but that's not her intent. So I had a daughter who said she walked in and mom's scooping up her feet on the carpet. What do you think she did? Mom, what are you doing? Sit down, you're gonna fall. She's like yelling at her, just having a cow. And after class, I said, what could have been a different response? And she said, I wish I would have taken a breath and said, Mom, what you doing?
Yeah.
Do you know what she was doing? She was kicking the waves at the ocean in Hawaii, remembering their vacation from 5 years ago. So if the daughter, instead of yelling at her, would have said, Mom, what you doing? She said, I'm on the beach. The daughter should have kicked off her shoes and kicked the waves with her. Oh, come over here, Mom. Oh, I found a warm spot. Giggle, enjoy your mom. Join her in her reality. She cannot join you.
Mm.
And that could have been a great moment instead of a yelling moment.
Yeah. I love that idea. I love that. I'm going to pause just a second. I just want to make sure. Okay, I just saw it. We're filming this, so sorry for pausing your amazing story. I just wanted to make sure everything was still going. It is after 1, and I know we said we'd stop at 1, but I have more questions, so I would like to keep going if you're good with it. Um, Before we continue with some of the questions about dementia and aging, I do want to let you know on July the 22nd, we are going to do an in-person seminar. And the reason we did in person, we're going to switch it back and forth from in person to Zoom or webinars like this. But the in person one, we have a couple attorneys joining us. One is going to be talking about wills versus trusts, the other one's going to talk about elder law. Then we have a title company that I work a lot with, and their counsel coming in to talk about deed fraud and elder fraud and some of the things that they are seeing on the title side of things, with home ownership and what people are doing. And then obviously Melissa and I will be there as well. We're also going to have different vendors in attendance, and that will be on July 22nd. We'll be sending out and sharing more information and our guests that are going to be on the panel that you can ask the questions and have the personal conversations afterwards, because this is a very, very personal topic. Everything we're discussing today and some of the other things that, I don't want it all out there on social media, some of the questions I'm personally asking or things like that. And we want it to be a safe place. We want people to be able to have these resources, to have these conversations, and to get the guidance of sometimes you just need to sit down and act like you're at the beach as well and kick your feet and the water splashing, and that's okay. So yeah. So anyway, I wanted to double check that this was still working. So apologize for interruption, and then just wanted to make sure for some of the guests that are on here that I know need to get back to work. I just wanted to respect time as well and give that little plug. Um, let's switch. Sometimes I'm a big planner, kind of the control. I want to make sure everything's, every T is crossed and I is dotted. And I think that's what makes me great at the profession that I'm in, is trying to uh, tell the future, trying to predict the future. I'm not always that great about it, but I try. So, what tips would you give adults? What tips should they be doing before this crisis happens, before their parents start losing their memory? Or, if we have guests that are in their 30s and 40s and their parents are, 50s, 60s, things like that. What advice do you give? How do you plan for this?
First of all, let's start having conversations.
Okay.
The number of people who are well, you talked about this with your daughter? No, why would I talk to my daughter about this? lots of reasons. And so having conversations, and it starts with your healthcare directive that if you go to the hospital, even if you're 30, they're going to have you sign. Somebody has to be in charge when you're out of it in under sedation, something change happens, who's making that decision? And if
Yeah.
you don't have that, that means nobody is, and they won't listen. It doesn't matter if you're married 50 years. It doesn't matter if you live together 20 years or you're the sister. If there's no paperwork, it causes problems. So having something in place that says who is making a decision, and also what are you going to do? Do you want to be on life supports for 6 years, 6 months, 6 weeks? Please, all those things need to have conversations. And a lot of times when you have conversations when you're younger, it's easy to talk about when you're older because it seems so far away. It was yesterday, I was 35. But
You're right.
Right? So when you can talk earlier about, I don't know, would you like to be cremated? Where do you want to be buried? What's your favorite song for your funeral? Those kind of things are safe to talk about because that's normal to talk about. Then when you start talking, once you get some of those conversations down, in most of the funeral homes have little booklets for you to fill out, your favorite flower. Do you want a peach rose versus a red rose? Do you want all those things? Because not everybody gets to decide, none of us get to decide when we're dying, but having those kind of things, when it's the worst day of your life and you have to come up with all these answers for your mom and you didn't talk to mom, well, I don't know. Does she like In the Garden? Does she like Amazing Grace? Does she like How Great Thou Art? Daughters want to honor their moms and dads. But if there's never been a conversation, then it's really hard to make those decisions that are meaningful for your family because that's what mom liked. The other thing is have conversations earlier as far as just because once you've had those, then it's easier because those are the obvious ones to talk about that people get started with. But when you start talking about, my husband and I are having these conversations right now, 10 years and 20 years. Well, we have 4 bathrooms with 2 of us. We kind of feel like we're still too big of a house, even though we cut our house in half. What are we going to do? What do we want that to look like? Do we want to live here? Do we want to live in a little house with a big RV next to it? He's thinking of maybe a 3 big car garage. Talk about things when you're younger. It helps you plan, but also your family knows what to do. Someone told, there's some things that in some of these seminars we're bringing you will be things like, okay, you think you're good because you have mom's passwords to some of her stuff. Well, yeah, but the phone and the second authentication and there's a lot more than that. You need to practice with your daughter that she can get in, that she knows all the things.
Yep.
And in a place where when you have to change your password, she still knows. Because I've been the estate executor for my grandparents, and it's not the same anymore now that we have all these different passwords. There's things to do and talk about. And you always talk about when it happens, not like it's happening next week, but when, way far in the future, because then it's safe to talk about. But you got to start. The number one thing clients tell us if they would have done their journey different is they would have gotten help sooner. When you get a little bit of help, and like we'll just say housekeeping and laundry, maybe showers, but your bill's this big, and that can last a super long time because we prevented falls and you don't even know it. But when you wait till the fall to call us, now your bill's here and it doesn't go down. Your abilities are not coming back usually. So now, yeah, you might have saved 6 months of not paying, but you're paying 3 times the price way longer. Everybody says they wish they would have gotten help sooner. So even if you think you don't need it, even if we come clean your house every, twice a month or something, just to get started, just for you to feel like you are have a resource where you can just pick up the phone. Sometimes people will hire us for their colonoscopy. Well, now you're in our computer. All you have to do is call us the next time you need us because you're already set up.
Okay.
But when the crisis is today, I mean, we do it. It's just not as fun when you call at 3 o'clock with crisis and we have to start care at 5. We do it and we will be there for you. But wouldn't it have been nice that you already knew how senior helpers worked and you already was comfortable and you at least already knew one person and you knew all the office staff already before crisis happens? Because then crisis is not as scary and uh, it feels a little bit more like home where you can work together. Does that make sense?
And it does, Melissa. And I think that's one of the reasons why we focused and like, okay, what are we going to call this? Because it's not just about old people. It's not just
Right.
about seniors. We wanted to create a seminar series gathering resources, your knowledge, my knowledge, as well as trusted guidance. And I think there are so many people out there that you can't trust and that are willing and looking for people to take advantage of. And it breaks my heart because I just don't have that brain
Mindset.
process or
Yep.
mindset.
Yep.
And I've seen some of my clients get taken advantage of from a plumber or a mover or a painter or a roofer all the time and I'm just like, please call me because I have people that know they better not do my clients wrong. And I trust them because they've proven themselves to me.
Right.
Trust is not told, trust is earned in my world.
Mine's too.
And I think that's what's so important is be able to have those resources. And if it's relating back to mom and dad are the same way. Who is this coming into my home? Where if they've already had little bits, have met you, you're the trusted resource and you're bringing in your group and of people. I always like to say I surround myself in my tribe. What's my tribe bringing to the table? And I'm surrounding myself with people smarter than me
Always.
because I trust them and they've earned a right to be in my tribe. And that's what I think is so important. And hearing you say that and just reaching out of, okay, let's get in the system. Maybe it's a clean here and there. Maybe it's, hey, we got a birthday party we want, but mom wants to host it. How can we do this? Or how can you help maybe host this? Or I'm out of town. I'm going on a family vacation, but can you just check in? Or my dad needs to go to his colonoscopy. I can't talk. Things like that. And I love that of just doing a little bit at a time and not everything all at once. We do the same thing when we're helping sell homes. I can't bring a photographer in today. I'm just meeting with you for the first time. Like there is a system and a process. Yes, I can put pedal to the metal if it's an emergency.
Right.
However, it's a lot better if we can follow the process that we've created over the years. Same thing. I'm hearing you saying the same thing. It is smoother and easier. Can I jump through hoops for you? Absolutely. Is it the best scenario? No, it's not at all. At all.
Things have changed a lot from when I started 18 years ago to
Okay.
now. When 18 years ago, daughters were like, Mom is not leaving her house. We're staying here until she's, till
Well, that's what I'm doing.
right.
My husband and I are staying in our house forever.
Well, that's what they say. And that they were committed to that. And we did a lot of like 8 to 5s with mom while daughter was at work.
Okay.
And then we started building a lot of cool new buildings that all came out at the same time in about 2012. And just those few years later, the tone started changing. Look, Mom, this is my 5th flyer in the mail in the month from the new building that's being built. It's on my way home from work. I can stop every day. Please don't say you're stopping every day. You're not. You should not. So please don't say that. But people keep saying that. It's on my way home. I can stop every day. You're setting both of you up for failure. First of all, it's a schedule you can't keep up. It's why you shouldn't be doing their laundry because your laundry is not even done. So when you're working sandwiched, you got kids like you and mom.
Sandwich generation.
Oh my goodness. It's not a pretty sandwich, it's a squeeze. And so anything we can do So sometimes when we're coming to, maybe mom does live with you and we're going to come. So while you go to the kids' ball game or, you work these 2 days a week, or whatever the situation may be. But when we come, I tell people all the time, while we're here and mom's sleeping in her chair, can we throw in some laundry? Can we dust? And they're like, no, 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 just worry about mom. Well, we're here for the whole family. The whole
Yeah.
family needs a break. The whole family is, um, we're a team. We're here to help support and anything we can do to relieve off your plate because your plate is on 24/7 with kids and parents needing you and being pulled from all directions. Um, you know, we don't need to be super moms.
And I love that. And I think that just going back to there's no manual.
No,
Where's
man.
where's the book? Where's the book on raising children?
Mhm.
Where's the book on how to be a new mom and figuring out recovering from childbirth to caring for something that can't do anything on its own,
Mhm.
this little baby, to now caring for parents of, you know, uh, I'll get people that call me, Audra, I know you're busy. I know you're busy. I just have this quick question. I'm never too busy. Yes, sometimes days are busier than others, but you're right. It's just helping them. Yeah, I can barely keep up with my laundry, let alone, but there's, for me, there's no one more important than my mom and dad. And trying to juggle that and figuring out all the things and then hearing the message, well, I don't want to bother you. I know you're busy. You're not a bother. You're my mom. You raised me. You took care of me when I couldn't do anything. And
We have two
it's,
different mindsets from the seniors' point of view.
yeah.
Some seniors are like, yeah, I'm hiring you because my daughter should not be doing this. My son should not be showering me.
Hmm.
They have their own families. And then others are like, I took care of my daughter. She better be taking care of me. So you kind of have both sides.
Yeah.
And so we try to help people, bridge that gap in the middle. It's, we still want you to come see your mom. We're not
Yep.
telling you not to come see your mom, but we want you to see your mom, not her toilet. And
Yeah.
because I've been there
Yes.
to do
Yes.
like a follow-up visit or something, and the daughter just happens to be there. And I'm like, can you come join us? Sit down for a hot minute. I mean, we're talking 3 minutes. No, I gotta go. I gotta get the next one, and I gotta get this toilet clean.
Because
And she leaves, and her mom's like, yeah, I don't get to talk to her anymore. So start early. Get some help while you can still enjoy your mom and
love it. Super, super helpful. It is almost 1:30, so let's go ahead and wrap up. Is there anything I'm going to kind of give a overview of what we're talking about next, but is there anything I haven't covered? Is there anything that I haven't questioned you and asked you about that you're like, man, Audra, this is something that is important that we didn't quite touch on?
I think we've done a good job of covering all the different topics. Um, Helping people stay independent wherever they call home is an honor to help these families navigate. Um, I don't do boring, which is why I'm in year 18, because it is so different every single
Every,
family. And finding a match, our first priority is finding a match that works for your family, who is the person you're like, yay, Julie's coming today, matters more than if she comes at 9 or 9:30 or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Some people have a set time that they need, but having the right person is our goal.
you're making me emotional. I think I think that's really why I wanted to team up with Melissa is showing a passion. It's not putting for me, it's not putting a sign in every yard of every neighborhood. I can't help every single person. And it's finding the ones that I connect with and that I can make a difference in their lives. And that's truly what means a lot. Um, Melissa, I'm super excited. You have agreed to join me in this venture of educating me, educating my friends and family and people that I don't even know of just there are resources and help, and you don't need to do things alone. We are, we have been masterminding together on, do you have an attorney for this? Do you have an attorney for that? Well, what about financial planners? What about setting a budget for retirement? I live on a budget. I'm very numbers driven. Not everyone is, but how do I plan for retirement? How do I plan for assisted living, independent living, nursing home?
And
Like,
what are their differences? Because
right?
they are not what you think.
They're all different
There's very
because back
different.
in the day it was, oh, you're going to a nursing home.
Mhm.
Do they even call them nursing homes anymore?
They call them skilled nursing facilities.
Okay, because I didn't think I'd heard that
Yeah.
terminology.
Yeah.
I just,
Communities is the good buzzword.
so I want to kind of work on creating the Cliff Notes. Okay, for y'all younger, Cliff Note, like some people don't even know what Cliff Notes are anymore. I'm aging
Right.
myself. We want to create that resource. We want you to give us input of subjects and things that you want to hear from. I've done a couple Facebook posts and people have commented and given me a wealth of topics, but we want to continue the conversations doing this monthly, either in person or via Zoom. I have a funeral director, a good friend of mine from the chamber that is very involved in the community, gives back a ton, and has helped me numerous times when the day comes that a friend or family member has passed away. And he's going to be joining us. We have different resources and people from attorneys to financial planners. I'm going to do another, I want to dig deeper on dementia because again, I don't know much about it. You
Oh,
know, you think, oh, I forgot something, I got dementia.
I can do it
And
4 hours if you want.
yeah. And what I don't want to do is have people misunderstand and accidentally insult someone or hurt someone's feelings. And I know I'm not in charge of other people's feelings, but what can we do to self-educate ourselves? Because you don't know what you don't know until you've been in it. And what can we do to be proactive? Do you have that will and that trust and that beneficiary deed? Can your adult children, when the time comes, sell your home? We don't know if I'm going to get dementia. Is it hereditary? I don't know. Is it?
They say it's kind of like all diseases. Like I'm the only
Okay.
one in my family that's not diabetic. Well, it's because I don't eat like them. So
Okay.
you have more of a tendency, but what you do is uh, makes more of a difference, just
Okay.
like being a diabetic.
So, so I want to dig deeper in that. I want to dig deeper on the difference between a nursing home and assisted care and independent living and all
Memory
of those
care.
things, memory care, because through my involvement in the chamber and helping clients that have moved into different places, I've gone to visit my clients and seen, here's my independent, like I'm in an apartment, but yet I can go downstairs. There's so many different things. So thank you, thank you, thank you for joining me in this calling that I'm getting to be a resource and to be able to help people. And I always know all the resources, but I will find someone that
Well, we
has
know
that
someone who
resource.
does.
We do. We do. So for those of you that are joining us live, thank you so much. We are super excited. And again, block off July 22nd. I believe we're going to do it like right after the lunch hour,
1 to 3.
1 to 3 o'clock. And talking about wills and trusts, beneficiary deeds, mortgage fraud, deed fraud, not mortgage fraud, deed fraud. Did you know it's a real thing out here? And did you know Clay County and Platte County both have a place you can register? Like there's so many resources out there. So we're using our brains and our resources and all those that are in our tribe that are trusted. So thank you very much. Thank you for joining us. Thank you.
Bye.